Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. Kay Murray, Shaka Hislop, Stevie Nicol here in the studio. In just a little while, we'll also be hearing from Jan Arge-Fjortoft, and we'll be continuing the conversation of something we were discussing on yesterday's show. That is that Liverpool are interested in Alexander Isak, and they have made their interest known. An approach has been made. It is said that the Premier League champions have always been interested in the player, but Newcastle have zero interest in selling their striker. So let's welcome in Jan Arge-Fjortoft to talk more about this. But I want to start with you, Stevie. What's your take on the issue?
Yes, please.
No thanks.
I actually thought, the first time I saw it, I thought, yeah, this is a wind-up. This is an AI or somebody's just being mentioned.
This is an AI.
There's so many things these days.
I don't know why that was so funny, honestly.
There's no way.
You have no idea how funny that was. Carry on.
There's not, anyway.
It's not an AI. I can assure you that.
Which is fantastic. I'm sorry. I didn't think Liverpool would go and spend 120 mil on Wirtz or anybody else. And they've done it. And now they're going to, apparently, spend another 120 on Isak. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, clearly they've been saving their money. I said to Dan, I sent Dan a text yesterday. I said, have Liverpool robbed a bank? Because this is like unbelievable. So, absolutely, yes, please, and twice on Sunday.
Says Stevie, not Shaka. From the Newcastle angle, that's not the view.
I am nowhere as excited by this news as by an AI or not, as Stevie quite clearly is. Listen, Alexander Isak has been at the centre of all things good for Newcastle over the last couple of seasons. As a matter of fact, when Newcastle struggled, it also coincided with when Alexander Isak was injured. And then, while there are some questions about his fitness, I thought last season he put all those to bed, was absolutely outstanding yet again. But just about 12 months, maybe 13 months ago, Newcastle were trying to make things work with this profit and sustainability, which I do not understand. Certainly from the perspective of a Newcastle having to juggle things as they did last season, and then roll the clock forward 12 months, you have Liverpool spending or ready to spend this kind of money twice in the same window. That being said, 120 million is a lot to turn away if you still have some of those issues that you need to deal with. And then it all comes down to who's the replacement, because those are huge shoes to fill, and how much it costs, because, again, the only reason Newcastle lets go of Alexander Isak is for financial, for profit and sustainability. So then again, the cost becomes a factor.
What do you think of this? What do you make of it all, Jan? Alexander Isak to Liverpool.
Well, first of all, for Stevie Nicol, who's been a generation in football, think that artificial intelligence can do rumours in football and links to football. That is impressive. I think that Liverpool has shown over the couple of last 3 years that they've had a plan with what they're doing. There was a period where they had Klopp's friend there doing the recruitment. Didn't work out very well for them. Now they're very, very professional. Florian Wirtz was the best available. They went for him. They need a number 9. They will like to get their number 9 out, and and there's not better one around. I mean, Shaka did the analysis seen from Newcastle point of view. This won't be a matter of money. I mean, if it's 120, 130, 110, who cares? I mean, his stats, his numbers are the ones who matter. That matter for Liverpool, that matter for Newcastle. For the Newcastle owners, if they get 120 million euro, that's what they do in an hour by oil and gas. So why should they sell? So this going to be interesting. I'm not 100% sure that this will go so much further, because I think the cards are in Newcastle hands. I can't see Alexander Isak go on a strike. I can't see him going out and say, I want to go to Liverpool. So it will be continued, but I at the moment, I can't see this happening.
Let's say it does happen, though, Stevie. How would that Liverpool 11 look to you?
Well, obviously, Isak would start up front. I think you'd have Gakpo on the left-hand side and Salah on the right with Wirtz underneath Isak. You know, it would be a 4-3-3, but I would expect McAllister and Gravenberch to be a lot deeper. And so Wirtz can operate pretty much in and around the middle of the park between the halfway line and the attacking box. So, I mean, going forward, that looks fantastic. It's got goals everywhere.
Any chance that wouldn't win the Premier League title next year, Shaka? That team?
Well, right now, given where everybody else is right now, that's the strongest team as anybody can put out. I'll be very honest with you. I mean, and while Stevie has Gakpo on the left and Wirtz playing through the middle, both of those can, if those two get an understanding with each other and are able to swap as freely as you've seen them do, Gakpo both for Liverpool last season and Wirtz for Leverkusen, because he just loves to float. If those two strike up an understanding, I'm with Stevie, that's as good an attacking threat as the Premier League has. And then you look, Van Dijk stays fit, Konate stays fit, yep. Alisson stays fit. It's hard to see anybody toppling that Liverpool.
I haven't even mentioned Kerikes. And you got Bradley, in my opinion, will start it right back just to make sure they start the season off solid. And then, of course, you can add Frimpong if you like. I mean, all systems are a go at Anfield right now.
Yeah, Jan's nodding along as well to what you're saying, Stevie and Shaka.
Yeah, and another point as well. If you have a look at the Liverpool squad at the moment, if you see the age of the players, I mean, they have slowly but steady getting a very young team as well in there. They have some of the greatest talent. Szoboszlai is now one of the oldest. He's 24. So this is a great Liverpool team. Just shows you how important recruitment is in football. But to make them favorite, I thought we just nominated Chelsea as the best club in the world. So Chelsea is going to be the favorite, wouldn't it?
Well, don't worry, Jan. We've got some Club World Cup talk coming up a little later on. Let me talk to you, though, Jan, about what you're hearing on how Hugo Ekitike could factor into all of this.
Yeah, what I do hear is that Ekitike is not for sale, but if we know the strategy of Eintracht Frankfurt, they sold Muani to PSG for 95 plus 5 million euro. They sold Marmoush to Manchester City for 80. His price tag now is 100 million euro. And there's been, he being the joker in that Newcastle Liverpool thing, if Liverpool can't get Ekitike, it can't get Isak, maybe they will go for Ekitike. What I do understand is that the player prefers to play for Liverpool. He prefers to play for Liverpool, but he's very relaxed because he knows that he can play Champions League with Eintracht Frankfurt. And Eintracht Frankfurt, for the first time in a long time, they don't have to sell because they have already done that with the Champions League qualification and the sale of Marmoush and Muani. So, but I can tell you that Ekitike prefers Liverpool Football Club. I always say when I moved on the pitch, it was like Jurassic Park. And when a guy like Ekitike, he's just floating. You didn't hear him. You don't hear him. He's just there. Great. You see his goals. He's doing his assists as well, and he can play. He can keep the ball. He can go into the spaces behind the back fours or the back threes out there. So this is a great signing for them. And the last years, it's just unbelievable how many strikers, how many offensive players Eintracht Frankfurt have created, and Ekitike is just the last one. And we do remember they got Johnny Burkhardt from Mainz, so they kind of, not a replacement, but they got another strikers there, and they will probably go again if they were to sell Ekitike.
See, I think, Stevie, you'd be just as excited speaking to you if it was Ekitike and not Isak at Liverpool.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't. I think Isak would be my first option, but only slightly behind Isak is Ekitike. I mean, you saw the goals we showed there. This guy can score every type of goal possible. He's not just a guy who scores goals in the penalty box. He scores goals from outside the box as well. He links play up. He sets people up. The guy can do everything. You know, he can score goals with his head. So, if Liverpool don't get Isak, and they've got to take Ekitike, then I for one, wouldn't have a problem with it. It would be, 30 million less than Isak. He's actually younger than Isak. He's only 24, I think, 23. I mean, again, it's... You can't lose. Whichever way you go, whether it's Ekitike or whether it's Isak, Liverpool don't lose. They get a absolute world-class talent.
And of course, if that's to happen, then you can sit back happily, Shaka.
Yeah, I'll be just as happy. But I got Steve's point. I mean, it's only a year between the two, Ekitike and Isak. The one thing Isak certainly has in bettering his resume from a Liverpool perspective is he's a proven talent in the Premier League. Yeah. Ekitike, while he's shown all the abilities too, that was in the Bundesliga. At least with Alexander Isak, you know it's a Premier League. Whichever way, I think how these two clubs play it, and we'll see Ekitike and Frankfurt and Newcastle if that's at all to happen. Ekitike is in a really good position right now. Yeah. I'd give him a left arm to be his agent this summer.
But Jan, let's look at it from the point of view of where you see that Florian Wirtz has come in, and if it were to be Ekitike as well coming in at Liverpool, would there be any concerns? It's always brought up with these players coming from the Bundesliga and being able to do what they've done there in the Premier League.
Ask Erling Haaland. He came from the Bundesliga. He did okay for Manchester City. I mean, there are examples, because it's a good question, because and it's an important question, because I'm with the boys. Isak has proved it in England. I came back in like 100 years ago. I was struggling. There are foreigners struggling coming in there. You take time to adjust. The thing that I'm not worried about, say Ekitike will come to Liverpool. I mean, with the players you have around you, Florian Wirtz, Salah, Gakpo, Szoboszlai, McAllister, how could you go wrong? How can you avoid scoring 20 goals? I would have scored 20 goals now. I'm 58. I mean, these are the teams to each easier to get into. And it's also, when you know the recruitment policy of, Liverpool Football Club, they know, and Slot knows what kind of roles he wants to put them into. And the team that was shown there, if you take out Isak and you put in Ekitike, I mean, that is formidable. Yeah. That team, and it's and I think that it also depends on the player you play next to. I mean, if you play with Florian Wirtz, I mean, he will create anything. You will have Salah. He will always score your goals, but he will also make you passes. He will also make spaces for you. So I'm not worried about that at all. And with Arne Slot, you have a manager who finds the strategy, the tactic that is suited for his players.
And while we are on the subject of the Bundesliga, we must talk about just some of the players that Bayern Munich have been linked with at the moment. Names like Luis Diaz, Nick Woltemade, Xavi Simons, Christopher Nkunku, Leandro Trossard and Rodrigo from Real Madrid. What do you want to talk about here?
Well, it's easy. It's easier to take a rant of Bayern Munich at the moment, because there are so many funny things. I mean, it would be more like a roast, because it's funny, because Max Eberl say, I need to save money. I need to save money. I need to save money. And then he's interested in players coming from English football, and it's going to be very, very expensive. So this is the head of sport, Max Eberl, who tries to get these players in. Williams, he was supposed to go to Bayern if he couldn't get a registration at Barcelona. He couldn't get a registration at Barcelona and signed like a 10 years contract for Bilbao. Now it's Diaz. I think Diaz is playing Bayern. I think that Liverpool want him to stay. I think that he will end up staying there. And if he prefers to go, I think he will go to Barcelona. And I don't believe this thing that he said, I want to go to Bayern. He's probably say, yeah, I could go with you if. And we forget the ifs. So, and to make this, more funny is that now they're doing Woltemade, that I think that would be the best signing they do, because he's a German young player who's had a great season. He was good now at the Youth European Championship now. He would be perfect for them coming in. And Woltemade, negotiations, that is the CEO Dresden doing. What is that all about? So Max Eberl, he's going all the way around the world looking for players, but when they try to get Dresden, now they try to get Woltemade, then Dresden is doing things, and then Stuttgart said, well, we won't let him go under 80 million. So the first offer from Bayern was 40, and then I offered this morning, apparently 50. And so I don't get Bayern at the moment. I don't get their strategy. Talking about Liverpool have a great strategy. At the moment, Bayern Munich are struggling big time. And maybe for you boys, if they get Diaz, say that they get Diaz, is that so much better than what they're having on that position? Is he so much better than Gnabry? I'm not. I'm just asked.
Is there anything to do with Rodrigo when we talk about who could be going to Bayern? Because we've seen his name linked there, Jan.
Apparently not. The last things from German sources is that he is not on that. They love in Germany. They have this list, the Bayern list. They have so many names on that list. It's unbelievable. But apparently he's not on there, so there must be something wrong.
It must have been AI.
Must have been an AI. Yes, everywhere
It must have been AI. Would Diaz be an upgrade at Bayern, you think, Stevie? Obviously, they've lost Sané. They know that Muller's gone. Musiala's injured at the moment.
Well, I think the potential for Rodrigo is there, as opposed to, you know exactly what you're getting now in Abri. Rodrigo's obviously younger.
If it was Luis Diaz?
Oh, Luis Diaz.
I know you're going to be able to talk about him at length.
Yeah, listen. The only problem is he's 28. You know, you're going to have to pay 70-odd million for a 28-year-old. I'm not so sure. Listen to Jan when the sporting director's talking about saving money. I don't suppose everybody around him is going to be very carried away if he spends 75 mil or something like that on a 28-year-old. So, is he an upgrade? Maybe just, but again, it comes back to, do you pay 75 mil for somebody who, let's say he is an upgrade, but how big of an upgrade is it? It's not that big of an upgrade. So why would you go and spend 75 mil? That would be my thought process.
Yeah, you wonder if that transfer window is getting a bit thinner for a player like Rodrigo, though, as well, because we're hearing all these players linked with other teams, big money being paid for them. Then you wonder what his options would be if he were to leave Real Madrid.
And I mean, a lot of things come into question when you're talking about Rodrigo. Price, what is his best position? How many clubs are in desperate need for a player of that position? And maybe the price that Rodrigo would command. So that for me is a big challenge around Rodrigo. And while I know we're only a few days out from the end of the Club World Cup, the longer it goes in the summer window, I just feel like it's closing quicker on Rodrigo than most other people, because of there are only a handful of clubs that can afford for or will go for Rodrigo. So you just have to wonder for him in that regard. I'll also say though, and Jan spoke about Luis Diaz and the preferred club being Barcelona. While that may be true, I don't know where he fits at Barcelona. So while, you know, to Stevie's point, it may be only a small upgrade and maybe not worth the kind of money that it will cost, I'm not sure that he fits at Barcelona either. So it's something for Luis Diaz's representation to think about.
When it does come to Bayern, though, Jan, they've got to do something, haven't they? Because back to that point of the players that have now moved on and the fact that Jamal Musiala is injured, what are they going to have to do before the season starts?
Yeah, it's interesting because you just feel they don't have that strategy. On one hand, you have to save money. Then you lose Leroy Sané, you lose Thomas Müller, you lose Musiala on an injury. And I still think when we will speak in a couple of weeks, we'll talk about the favourites to win the Bundesliga. I will still put Bayern up front there. I don't think that the other teams are good enough to take them domestically. But that's not the level of Bayern. The level of Bayern is to do well in the Champions League, to go all the way, to compete with the best. They also had great ambitions at the Club World Cup to go all the way. So they need new players. I mean, maybe now they have found, with Tar, they have found a reliable defense. We'll see how that works out. But the interesting thing is that we could put Gittens. Gittens was also linked to them. Remember that? They called him up the day he was having, they called Dortmund the day he had his medical for Chelsea. I mean, that is not good work in my book. I think that, but they're desperate to get someone, and I know the Germans, I know how they will think. They will probably end up getting Rashford on a 1-year loan, and he will be sold in as the biggest thing since Lionel Messi. That is the way you just feel this develop. I've seen that before with Bayern, because they need a big name. And I can see now the people who are writing in and around Bayern, Rashford is getting better and better every day. I mean, he was fantastic at Aston Villa, apparently. I didn't see that, but he was fantastic when you see some people in Germany. So I think that could end up with a loan of some way.
Own post-tournament picks as well today. It is our Club World Cup review. These are the ratings. We've been a bit measly, Shaka, myself and Stevie. However, Jan, you rated it highest with an 8 out of 10. Tell us why.
But yeah, I will tell you why. But first of all, I know that you're sitting there, you've got influence for Craig Burley. So I will have, I understand that they will go low when they do that. Now, the reason I went that high is that we have to take different perspective on a Club World Cup. As a tournament, to have the crowd, having some good games. Yes, some of the games I couldn't go. It was middle of the night here in Europe, so I couldn't see them. But there were some very good games. The tournaments were okay. It was okay. There were some great games at the end, with a surprise winner in Chelsea Football Club now being the best club in the world, and all that. It's okay. But I mean, the reason I didn't give them 10 of 10, boys and girls in the studio, is that I think that it's too much for the players. I think this tournament will show now when coming to November, December. I think that some of these players playing for the team. I saw Erling Haaland had 62 games last season, and he was out for some games. So there are some great numbers coming up in terms of injuries. But all in all, being a tournament that was supposed to make a new thing, I think that not so bad.
Yeah, so obviously Jan only cares about player welfare, 2 out of 10 by his ratings there.
Don Hutchinson, what are you talking about?
why are we mixed here?
Well, I have to say, I thought I was kind of toying around 6.5 for this tournament for a couple of reasons. I thought early on, it really surprised me. The turnout of the Brazilians, well, the South Americans just in general. Their fans come out to these stadiums, I thought made for an incredible atmosphere. But just kind of given the number of teams in the tournament, while that initial, and I was a huge skeptic before the tournament, my initial impressions couldn't have contrasted more with what I was expecting. It just started to drag on a bit. And that's not a criticism maybe of the team, certainly not the South American fans, but just how many games there were, how many teams there were to try to keep across up. And I thought that was the most difficult thing with the tournament. The other aspect that I really did not like, and I know we'll get to it, is the allocation of the monies. And while it was a huge purse, clubs were compensated or guaranteed compensation before the tournament, depending on their commercial prowess or however it was phrased. But to me, that was, again, just regardless of how well or not you performed, the rich getting richer. And in a tournament like this, I would hope that it wouldn't just be a case of clubs like Real Madrid, regardless of how far they go in the tournament, are guaranteed to make more than everybody else. That, for me, I thought detracted from the tournament on the whole.
Well, let's get to our biggest surprises, because 3 of us agree with Chelsea. However, Stevie, you've gone for Al Hilal.
And in the end, as good as City were at the beginning of the game, by the end, Hilal deserved to get the victory.
Probably the game of the tournament, that right, Jan? Al Hilal against Manchester City, if you were to take away the final on Chelsea's point of things.
Yeah, it was a great game, and I've been following a bit Saudi Liga because I think we just have to follow to see what's going on there. And of course, it was surprised that they beat Manchester City. It wasn't Manchester City who seemed to make it serious, maybe save a season to say we're the best club in the world. And you can just imagine what Real Madrid and Manchester City would have said if they won this tournament. But yes, I go with that. Al Hilal, that was a surprise. But they're good. I think they're more organized. Maybe that it is us also underestimate the knowledge of a lot of the coaches who've gone to Saudi Arabia, because we talked a lot about the players going there. But you have, for example, a guy like Jaisley. I remember him. He was at Red Bull Salzburg in the Champions League. He went there. He won the Champions League, I think, with his cloud down there. So you see that more and more knowledge coming in different positions, not only big-time players with big-time wages.
Yes, okay, so let's get to our best moment. We've all gone for different things here. Jan's gone for Cole Palmer's performance against PSG, Xhaka Chelsea's performance overall against PSG, myself, the fans that did turn up.
I thought that was really a breath of fresh air that tournament needed early on, and maybe gave the tournament the momentum it needed to give the number of games. So maybe I kind of underscored how important that was, because had those early games kind of fizzled without those South American fans, who knows what our overarching opinion would have been of this tournament.
However, Stevie, you've gone for the final whistle
Yeah.
in the final.
Yeah, because I just couldn't be convinced that this was a bona fide tournament. I mean, look, 3 teams that were in it: PSG, City, and Real Madrid. Right? If the bookies had the top 6, if this was a proper tournament with everybody that should have been there, the top 6, half of them were missing. Arsenal, Liverpool, I'm missing one. Barcelona. So the fact that they're not in this, I just couldn't take it seriously. Another thing that annoyed me is the fact that they laid turf on or grass fields on top of turf. It changes the game. That's not how these teams play. Regardless of what country they're in, that's not how they play the game.
So
the only reason Chelsea won, by the way, is because of the field.
So
because they could keep banging those balls, knowing the ball would stay in bounds and wouldn't go outside. I mean, I couldn't take it seriously enough to think that this was a war.
You're combining two. You just hate Chelsea. You're combining two.
That's not true. I don't hate Chelsea. Chelsea were
What's
great in
wrong
the
with
game.
our studio? We're so against Chelsea.
I know.
I
know.
They are the best club
But
in the world.
when he said final
take it
whistle,
easy.
Jan, again, final whistle, I thought he meant because of all the drama at the end of the final whistle.
No.
I thought he meant at the end of the tournament. No more.
Oh, you're miserable.
No more.
Miserable.
But
on,
I
Jan.
like Steve. I like Steve's arguments there, because the final whistle, remember, this is a Club World Cup. Luis Enrique, he is the nicest, most charismatic, most well-behaved, polite man in the history of football. He's been sold now the last 6 months, winning the Champions League. And then he uses the Club World Cup final to just lose it. I mean, so I do understand. That was a fantastic moment. Seeing Luis Enrique being like Ivan the Terrible there after the game was unbelievable. And I understand it. But I think that, Stevie, and we know that, I mean, when you get into this modus, yes, the teams were not there to call it the best club or the World Cup, of course, but still you see the competitiveness and they wanted to win. And I think I saw, what did I see now? There was some evaluation, they are going to evaluate the performance of the PSG players in the Club World Cup final to see who they're going to go for the next season. I mean, these are the reigning Champions League winners, by the way.
All right, let's get to our worst moments, even though Stevie's already listed off at least 10 of his. Jan, player exhaustion next season. So, Jan, you can explain yours in a minute because it still hasn't happened yet. Xhaka, Auckland conceding 10 on Musiala's injury. For me, the pitch conditions, and for Stevie, the 2-hour delay. Explain yours to us, Jan, because it hasn't happened yet.
No, I'm not sure that will happen either before November, December, and mind you, the English teams, they don't even have the winter break. So this is a serious stuff of it, because there is a need to be to do the calendar of football is very, very hard. And then when you put another tournament in, a lot of these players will now play till they will have 2 or 3 weeks off. They will come in with a small pre-season now for the next season. The most of these boys will play in the World Cup next season or next summer again. So this is not good, and we have to find a solution there. And when you see FIFPro, who is the players' organization and look after the welfare, they weren't even invited to the table to discuss these kind of things. We have to stop that, because this is a players' welfare. Yes, the show must go on, and yes, go out there. Yes, you earn a lot of money. I can just hear all the points that's been said, but the players' welfare can be a big, big problem. I'm not sure how we solve that, because FIFA, UEFA, and the other federations will always fight for their money, their time in the limelight. But we have to at least get the players on the table to have the representatives discussing it.
Okay, the last segment that we put together for you, the last topic bar, was one thing we would change for the next edition. Jan says more sensible qualifying process. Shaka says reduce the amount of teams. For myself, player welfare. And Stevie says go back to the original format. Jan, a more sensible qualifying process. Tell us more.
Yes, I think that you accept the World Cup, there is a qualification. You accept that the hosts should be at the tournament. But the rest of the teams, they are qualified. They are a ranked team. We have seeding. We have all those kind of things. We didn't have that this season. I mean, I'm a big fan of Messi. I'm a big fan of Inter Miami. But suddenly they qualified for some kind of rule that nobody understood. There were teams like Stevie was talking about. They should be. If you have the Club World Cup and you have the best teams in the world, you have to have the best teams in the world there. And there are, yes, I know, and I've spoken on social media with different Chelsea supporters. Now they have the ranking from 2 or 3 years back, but that is not. I think for a tournament to stick, you have to have a process of how you qualify that everybody understand. Should that be groups? No, that is difficult, but we can't do the same with the national team. So there must be some kind of ranking. But I think that the champions of England or the top 3, 4 in England should be there. I think if you have a team if you have Real Madrid there, you have to have Barcelona there. I mean, simple things like that for people to understand why the different teams are there. Red Bull Salzburg was there. Liverpool weren't there.
Yes. Back to the original format. The good news for you, Stevie, is that will be the case this winter. It will be back to its original format, and I know that's something you'll be really looking forward to.
Yeah. Well, I don't like the original format either, but there's no way that FIFA are not going to have some sort of competition, to keep them face on the map and to make some money. And the way it was, having it in and around Christmas, the bigger sides would play 2 games. That would be the ideal scenario now, because the biggest thing for me is about the players now. And in Jan's answer he had at the end, we don't know what's going to come this season with all the players that did play in this tournament, because it's an unknown. But I can guarantee there'll be a lot of players not at their best, and come the World Cup next year, goodness only knows how many players are going to drop out. But we don't know, because it's never happened before. But it won't be good. That's the only thing I probably guarantee you.
Lamine Yamal is now 18, which means he has now signed a contract extension with Barcelona until 2031, when he'll be the grand old age of, 23, 24?
Wow.
He has had a significant increase in his wage. There is a $1.1 billion release clause, and he will be wearing the number 10 jersey, inheriting the legacy of the likes of Lionel Messi, Ronaldinho and Rivaldo before him. That is some honour. Maradona not listed there either, but Lamine Yamal wearing the number 10. Lionel Messi also putting a little comment on Instagram as well, saying the number 10, Lamine Yamal. Something special, but this is a player that's worth wearing that number right now, Jan.
Absolutely. I mean, it's unbelievable. The kid is 18. You can just start laughing. Not only, I mean, you've seen young players who have fantastic skills, that can have technical skills that kind of wow. And then suddenly this kid comes along and wins everything. Is just amazing. And number 10 by Barcelona, that is a big thing, of course.
Lamine Yamal, Barca's number 10.
Wow. That has some ring to it at 18 years old. Listen, in football parlance, the number 10 shirt, number 10 Barcelona shirt is pretty heavy and difficult to wear, especially when, not immediately the last person, but the last notable wearer was Lionel Messi. And as much as I am tempted to say Lamine Yamal is heir apparent, at that asking somebody to fill a void left by Lionel Messi is pretty ridiculous. But it goes to who you think is the standout player of the club, the player who can carry that club in a way that very few others can. And while he's only 18, and just only 18, there is nothing from Lamine Yamal that suggests that he can't, that he doesn't enjoy that pressure, that he isn't looking forward to what comes with wearing the heavier shirt at the Camp Nou.
I think what solidifies it is that looking at him and what we're talking about with the number 10, I don't think there'll be one person on this planet that's even thought it's going to be too heavy for him. It just doesn't even enter.
Exactly.
It just doesn't even enter your mind. It's like number 10. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
You just sit back and say, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it should be.
Right.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. La Liga will be returning to your screens very soon. August 15th back underway. Mallorca are Barcelona's first opponents on August 16th as they look to defend their title. And it's the Tuesday, August the 19th, that we'll be getting to see Real Madrid under Xabi Alonso for the first time in La Liga play. That is against Osasuna. All of these games will be available on ESPN+. Well, in the Women's Euros today, Norway lost out to Italy. It was a late goal that sealed it for Italy from Girelli. Ada Hegerberg did get one for Norway, but also missed a penalty, which was her second penalty miss of the tournament. It was a poorly taken penalty from Hegerberg, and it is Italy who progress on and will play the winner of either Sweden or England when it comes to the semi-final of this tournament. Jan Agerfjordhoff was watching this for us. Norway losing out to Italy here, Jan. What do you want to talk about?
That we lost. No, I mean, it was an interesting game because, to be fair, we won 3 in the group stage. We had an easier group, has to be said. Then Italy made a 1-0, which was very deserved, but we were still in there. And then we missed the penalty. Ada, as you were saying, the second miss. We had some chances. Signe Gaupset, one of the greatest talent of international football, 20-year-old. She was brilliant for Norway. But then suddenly Ada Hegerberg does what she's doing. She get the 1-1, and we thought we were going into the extra time. But then again, Girelli doing it again. Cantora made the assist, a brilliant winner for Italy. And Norway will say, well, we should have maybe, but Italy was as deserved winner as well. They went through, and we will say, yeah, we did what we had to do, but Italy through, and as you were saying, it's going to be a very interesting game between Sweden and the Lionesses, and that's going to be an unbelievable semi-final. We all know that Spain will win at the end, but for Norway there was disappointment, and I think there's time now for Norway. Remember, we used to be a powerhouse in women's football. We lost that the last years, but we have some great talents in Guro Reiten from Chelsea, Frida Manum from Arsenal, Caroline Graham Hansen from Barcelona, Ada Hegerberg, Lyon, and so on. But I think maybe now it's time for some new faces. There are some great young girls coming through for us. So I think this was bye-bye to a generation of Norwegian football players.
Oh, Jan. Well, as Jan mentioned, it will be Sweden against England tomorrow. The winner will play Italy. Also in the quarterfinals is France against Germany, and Spain taking on Switzerland against Friday and Saturday, respectively. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Jan's with us, so is Shaka, and so is Stevie, who started the main show by talking about AI. And it got me wondering what you actually know about AI and if you're using any form of AI yourself right now.
Behave yourself. I can answer that, Kay. I can answer that.
I'm going to set him up.
Well, I could be and just don't know it.
I'm going to give you a little workshop, okay? It's going to help.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Wish me luck. Okay, Stevie, why is it that you can never be positive about Chelsea?
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Go.
They've clearly got what it takes to defeat the best teams, but you never seem to give them credit, no matter what they win.
Well, Rajashi needs to watch the show we did from New York, because 100% on that show, I absolutely praised Chelsea.
But they only won because of the pitch, you said.
Hold on a second. I see you're doing Dan now, diving in.
Did he say that or did he not, Shaka?
Could you let me explain?
Go on, explain.
Go on, explain that.
On that show, I said that all we've been talking about is where's the leaders for Chelsea? Where's this? Where's that? Well, in this game against PSG, they 100% showed that they have that. All of those things that were sometimes appeared and then disappeared during the season, they put it all together for the 90 minutes and were fantastic. And what we said, and I said, was if they can produce that for 38 games of the Premier League season, then they could win the Premier League. But the problem is, they've done it once. So that's, it's a cautionary tale. And the thing about the field,
Cautionary tale.
you've got to give them credit because the coach and the team took advantage of the situation. Because they could stick balls in behind and put them in that corner on top of Mendes, knowing the ball wouldn't go out of play, because under normal conditions, all the teams are wet in the field and it's slick and it's quick and it's fast. And so they took advantage of the conditions. And so I gave them 100% credit for that. But a cautionary tale. They've got to do it 38 times to win the Premier League. And they've got to be more consistent. That's all I said.
This is the artificial intelligence from Norway. Steve Nichols said in his show that they won the Club World Cup because of the pitches, period.
I know, why couldn't you give that lovely chat about Chelsea during the show?
Dad Thomas is all over. Dad Thomas is everywhere.
You just hate Chelsea. You just hate. That's all it is. That's what you said during the show. That's what you said.
Honestly.
That's what you said. Sunday
You
you
love
sing a
Ali
different
Hal,
tune.
you love Ali Hal, and you hate Chelsea. That's what we know.
For the boys, when the dumpster fire that is Manchester United eventually collapses in on itself this season, will the ownership finally feel enough pressure to sell, or will it continue with the philosophy of garbage in, garbage out, business as usual? You can answer that, Jan.
Can I? I mean, yes. I mean, it's time now to have a discussion, I think, that how much better have Ineos been than Glazer? I think that you can make a good case of that. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. What you also see now is the problem when you have a bad recruitment politics to take people in, it's not possible to get them out. There's no chance to sell any players. We talked about in the show, maybe Newcastle got to sell Isak because of the financial fair play rules to kind of do the things they have to do there. You see Manchester City always sell players. No, maybe they sell McAtee. They will get a lot of money for him and so on. And Manchester United can't sell anything. I mean, they can't sell anything. And that is the big problem. You see the same as Bayern Munich. When they're told to raise money, you have to sell players and they have no one to sell. So sometimes when you get players in, you have to think that maybe 2-3 years down the line, you have to sell them. And Manchester United at the moment, wow, if I was a Manchester United supporter, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. So much worried I would have been.
It's also related to Manchester United, the next question, which says, for the guys, last night you talked about Rashford's options, but you forgot one. Just sit tight and wait. Amorim will probably be gone by Christmas and the new manager might put you back in the squad.
Yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. Because if they don't get rid of the famous five, as you've called them, as you dubbed them, then where's the money to make changes? Now, the amount, they don't need a couple of players. They need the majority of the team, to be quite frank. And if they don't get rid of any of these guys, which it doesn't seem likely, then how's Amorim supposed to do? You'd have to think they're going to be better than last year, but how much better with the same pretty much squad of players? So the chances of him being out by Christmas are pretty high. Pretty high.
Rashford needs a move. Listen, I think Marcus Rashford's an incredible talent, but something isn't working because it's not been one or two managers that Rashford has struggled under. I couldn't 5 managers in Manchester United, 4, maybe 5 he's played under, and had that one good spell post the 2022 World Cup where he was really, really good, granted. But other than that, I think given Marcus Rashford's talent, he hasn't delivered. And a change of managers hasn't changed his approach, his willingness to do some of the dirty work. I just think at this point, he needs a change of football club. So sitting tight is an option in that he'll continue to be paid very well and he'll get another opportunity if that comes, but I don't think it's in his best interest as a footballer
to do that. Jan, Don claims that you stopped him from clobbering an opposing player after he had been spat in the face. Have you always been the peacekeeper of the lot?
Yeah, and once again, Liverpool, I played at Barnes in Liverpool. There was a guy coming and wanted to knock down the referee, and I did a wrestling thing on him. So I am the perfect peacemaker. I love my peace, a bit coincidentally, when you play with Don Hutchinson, he was a good player, but he had a temperament. He had an unbelievable temperament on the pitch. So I was always aware of that. And what I tried to tell Don Hutchinson at Portman Road at that time, that was a playoff semi-final in the championship, going to that big game at Wembley. I told him in a fine way that, Don, we are going to Wembley, and this, I have to watch my word now, this not well-behaved player of Ipswich, he won't go there. So then I stopped him, but because Don Hutchinson, if he wanted to do what his impulses wanted to do, he wouldn't have gone with us to Wembley, I tell you that.
Wow, there we go.
What a lovely
guy.
What a lovely
Yeah, what a lovely guy.
Gents, who's your favourite cricketer? Have you ever been to a cricket match live?
What is that?
Yeah.
They often like it a little. When I first started here, I remember quite a lot of cricket questions coming in.
Yeah.
Did you
See,
West Indies got bowled out against Australia, 27, second lowest Test innings score in history.
Do you think they just wanted to put this in for you, just to
Right?
annoy you?
You know what caused that? The pitch. I think it was the pitch.
Definitely the pitch.
I think it was the pitch caused us to be that bad.
Definitely.
Yeah. When I came to England, Kay, I started to ridicule cricket because I think you're sitting there, it takes ages, these games, I didn't have a clue. But after 2-3 years in England, I thought I have to learn this game, and I found it quite interesting. And I would say my favorite player was Brian Lara.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. He was in my time in the 90s in England. But I've never been to a live game, so maybe I should.
I'm stuck between Viv Richards and Ian Botham. Viv Richards was... Viv Richards was just smooth as silk.
Yeah.
Everything he did was easy. And Botham just inspired you every time, whether he was batting or whether he was bowling, you just wanted to be able to do what he was doing. And actually, I went to Trent Bridge, and I took my son with me. I think Michael was about 9 at the time. And around 1 o'clock, there is absolute bedlam. People singing, and there's noise, and there's chant. I mean, there's just bedlam. And then about 4:30, when they come around tea time, it's really quiet. Because all the guys that were making all the noise are all so drunk that they've all fallen asleep. I said to my son, let's go for a walk round. We went for a wee walk. And you've never seen so many people lying behind the boards, fast asleep. And my son's like, what's wrong with these guys? I'm like that. They've had too much orange juice, Michael.
Oh, of course, Stevie wasn't drinking, so he was able
No,
to...
exactly.
He was a tour guide.
Had to be responsible.
Yes, so...
Otherwise.
A little bit of trivia for Jan. So I actually played in the same cricket club growing up with Brian Lara. Up until about 10, maybe 12 years old. But at the same time, Lara played in a junior national football team with me. Up until the national under-14s. Brian, Dwight York, Russell Latapy, myself were all in the same national under-14 team growing up. So yeah. So he is something.
Nice one.
Well done.
Did he have a decent touch, Shaka?
Decent left foot.
Yeah.
Decent left foot. So very good golfer as well, by the way. When he played cricket, bat left-handed, plays golf right-handed.
Weird.
Some people are just good at everything. All right. For Jan, start, bench or drop? Jan edition.
Oh, okay.
Jan Keulemans?
Oh.
Jan Molby? Jan Koller?
I have to start my colleague Jan Molby. I mean, he's my colleague in the Premier League studio, so I will do him. And I remember when I played European Cup for Rapid Vienna, I played against Bruges, and there was Jan Keulemans there, so I have to keep him. And although Jan Koller was a fantastic, you remember that tall, big striker playing for Dortmund, I will still sell him because I rate the two others more.
Oh. Hey, wasn't Jan Koller not a centre-back for West Germany?
Was it? No, that was the Jürgen Koller.
Jürgen Koller, right. Oh, I got Jan Koller.
You get in your
Yeah,
J's.
Jan Koller.
I'm getting me, aye.
He was the guy he was so tall. There was a game he went in goal for Dortmund. The keeper was sent off and he was man of the match. He was fantastic as goalkeeper as well. Although it's not that very easy though. And it's not so hard being a goalkeeper, but still.
Easy peasy, yeah. Stevie,
Easy peasy.
have you ever seen the film Fever Pitch?
Absolutely. Why would I watch Fever Pitch? Seriously.
You're in there.
Just to see the
To see what happens.
perspective of
I'll watch it.
fanatical fan.
I'll be so stuck to. I want to see what happens at the end.
What movie is that? I didn't know what movie that is.
Fever, but isn't that the one with Colin Firth when he's an Arsenal fan? Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, there's a book.
No
Great
thanks.
book as well.
Yeah.
I have to recommend a book.
No
But
thanks.
it's about Arsenal beating Liverpool in the last minute, of course. That's why Stevie, for the younger viewers,
why he didn't really watch
That's
it.
why Stevie he
No
knows
kidding.
the end.
Didn't want to watch it, did he?
The whole.
Is there anything Stevie wouldn't have with mince? We already know one. Corn, yeah.
I forgot about corn. I was about to say
I've never
no.
seen somebody so disgusted as he mentioned of corn in his midst. Wait,
Yeah.
corn in shepherd's pie.
It just wastes it. You can't eat it.
I beg to differ.
You can't eat it. Well, I can't eat it. I couldn't eat it. No, corn with mince, no chance.
No, that's a man who's focused
No.
on his mince right there.
High maintenance.
Don't try to
I'm very
sneak
high
in-
maintenance,
Don't try to
mate.
sneak in some corn in his
Yeah.
mince.
Kay and Stevie, I was recently at a pub and saw that they offered Scotch egg on the menu. Is Scotch egg an English or a Scottish dish?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Why is it called a Scotch egg?
For those who
By the
don't
way-
know, it's
by
an
the way-
egg
by the way,
with
just-
like sausage meat around it and then breadcrumbs around that.
Let me just clear something up for anybody. The mere fact that it's called Scotch, right, tells you it's not Scottish. Because we're not Scotch, we're Scottish. So when anybody says, "Oh, are you Scotch?" You're like, "No, I'm not. I'm Scottish."
You get annoyed at that.
Aye.
What about Scotch whiskey though?
That's what I was thinking. Didn't that originate in with you Scotches?
Are you Scotch?
With you Scotches?
Yeah. So this show today started with this show started with Stevie kind of quoting artificial intelligence, and now at the end there is no intelligence left.
See?
Artificial or otherwise.
Scotch whiskey, hello.
Yeah, I mean, you don't start with much. A lot to lose.
Exactly.
You need to use AI to go find this out. So Scotch tape
Exactly.
isn't Scottish.
can't
Scotch
be.
tape.
A Scotsman wouldn't call it a Scotch egg. Because we don't take being
What's
called
Scotch whiskey then? What's Scotch whiskey? Where's that
Scotch whiskey.
I don't know everything yet.
What about hopscotch?
Hopscotch. Yeah. I don't, yeah. Yeah.
from? About Scotch tape?
If I know Scotch,
Let's just go through everything we know.
and
in
the
Scotch.
Scotch tape's got tartan paper over it as well.
It does. That must
Exactly.
Well, again, it can't
Exactly.
be a Scotch or a
But we
Scotch
have-
woman.
But to make your point, Stevie, Scottish salmon is called Scottish salmon, isn't it? Scottish salmon.
There you
Yeah,
go.
not
Because they
Scotch.
compete with us. Norwegian salmon is better, of course. But yes, so we know that.
Boy.
Yeah.
Weren't better than Italy today, though, were you, Jan?
Oh boy. Ah boy. boy.
For the panel, today
no
is,
comment.
Today is National Hot Dog Day. What do you like on your hot dog?
Oh.
Oh, Scotch something.
What do you say,
Scotch-
Jan? What do you like on your hot dog?
I like on my hot dog a bread. Like I put it in a bread, of course, and then I do what we in Norway call a lumpe. So you will call it in America like a pancake kind of thing that is not a pancake. And then I will have some onions, but the fried one. And then I will like some salad, a bit like a shrimp salad kind of thing. And then I would like a ketchup on it, and I would just put it in my mouth, and I would just love it.
It's very gourmet.
That's a lot going on in that.
Hot dog.
You need a big mouth to get all that in.
A hot dog, a pancake,
Just the man. Just the man.
Chaka, what do you like on your hot dog?
I'm simple. Ketchup, mustard, raw onions, little relish. Happy days.
Stevie?
I don't really like hot dogs.
There's a shock.
What about Scotch hot dog?
If I'm starving and there's nothing else, I would have one with tomato ketchup on it. Or tomato sauce, we call it. Ketchup.
We do call it
Tomato sauce.
Ketchup.
What about
Ketchup.
mince in the bun instead? A little bit
Oh,
of
just
sloppy
go like
toast?
that with it. Go like that with a hot dog and get some mince in it. No danger.
Oh, boy.
So
Yeah, I'm not keen.
if you had to have a hot dog, then
Yeah, it'd be tomato
just a bit of
sauce.
tomato sauce. No onions.
Nothing. That's it. Just
No mustard.
that's the
I like-
most boring hot dog. We've gone from pancakes and shrimp.
See, I would put the onions in and then take them out. I like the flavour that they give, but actually eating the onion is not my cup of tea. So I like the flavour it gives to whatever it's in, like a burger.
Right.
I'll have onions over the burger, but then when I go to eat it, I'll take the onions off.
So you just-
the flavour of the onion is still
Just
on.
get some onions and rub it up and down your hot
There you
dogs.
go.
So Stevie,
God.
you started off not being an expert on the hot dogs, and now you have a speech about the hot dogs.
Yeah, as I said, maintenance. We've got some bonus content, I'm told, for the end of today's extra time. What could it be?
What?
Take a look.
Who's done what?
The thing that annoyed me is the fact that they laid turf on or grass fields on top of turf. It changes the game. That's not how these teams play, regardless of what country they're in. That's not how they play the game.
So you're
And the only reason Chelsea won, by the way, is because of the field.
The only reason that Chelsea
Artificial
won
I tell you
was
what,
because of the field.
honestly, I bet
Artificial
Dan
intelligence.
Thomas phoned in and said, "Get that, play that again."
Doesn't matter who did it. You need to tell us why you said that.
Because it's true.
Oh, see?
But
You hate Chelsea.
I'll
That's
say it
true.
again. Credit to Chelsea for taking advantage of the situation. That's what you've got to do.
You just hate Chelsea.
Sorry for giving them some credit.
You didn't give them credit, you took it back.
That's credit.
It's like
It's
onions
credit.
on your hot dog.
I give them credit.
So-
Give them credit.
for
give them
taking
a little-
advantage of the
They got a little
situation.
flavour. They got a little flavour on the hot dog, and then you take it off. You gave them
So
credit
Todd
and took it
Bowley-
back.
Todd Bowley will probably bring that pitch over to Stamford Bridge, then they will never lose a game at home then.
Maybe
what
that's
is
how
that
they,
about?
Maybe that's how they win the
Chelsea
Premier
Football
League.
Club, the best club in the world. It's nothing to do with the pitch.
They need to lay a turf field and then cover it with a grass field. And that way they'll walk the Premier League. There you go.
Chelsea. You hate Chelsea.
Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potate.